Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We are starting for today's session. Today, we have our first speaker, Dr. Sachin Shah. Now I welcome our today's speaker, eminent scientist and senior lecturer, Dr. Sachin Shah. He has completed his PhD from IIT Kharagpur in mathematics. Presently, he is a senior lecturer at Department of Mathematics and Statistical Sciences, Botswana International University of Science and Technology, Botswana. He is a good researcher and working on broad area of fluid mechanics. He has almost 50 publications in different peer-review journals. Now, sir, Dr. Shah, are you hearing me? This is your turn. Please start your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon,
Welcome.
everyone. Hope you can able to listen me. It's fine. Have you seen the PPT?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. As you see the title of this, we mainly focus on the higher education and what are the possible alternatives are there. So whenever we're talking about the higher education, we mainly think about learning or teaching and research. I think in this group, many of us are faculty and maybe some students are there. So for the faculties, obviously teaching is very important part. So in general, in this pandemic situation, we now face a big problem and we change our mode of teaching from face-to-face to some online teaching, which is one of the alternative, not the proper correct one, but an alternative. And if you see this is follow throughout the world, if you see this picture, how it is going to increase with the dates. And maybe it is now 2 billion or more than that. People are following this online teaching. And this concept basically not very new. If we see earlier also many universities are following this methodology, this online education type, but they are restricted in some modules, which is basically modules which is oriented to your career or maybe some short type of course. If you see here if traditional and online comparison, generally when we are talking about traditional, which is in class with blackboard, we are choosing the courses which is very core course, which is we need basic knowledge in each cases. But when we are talking about the online learning, we basically go for the a research oriented or maybe career oriented, or maybe sometimes we need that one for some promotion kind of things, those way. So this is the general way how people are following till before this COVID condition. But when we are including all the parameters for the online learning, then obviously we are going to face some difficulties. If you see this slide, this is what our expectation from the general learning outcomes. But we are facing the problem when we have this online learning environment. And the main focus, if you see here, the technology is one big problem. Then face-to-face interactions, these are another big problem. Then about the consciousness, because when we are going for the online teaching, we mainly prefer that we have a schedule, we are going to follow the schedule. But in general, face-to-face interaction, they are supposed to come to the classes, which is very easy for them to follow the schedule. But for online, it is quite difficult for them. We'll discuss those things later on. Again, another things, whenever they are arising different queries, that is another difficulties level when they are talking about online learning. If you see here the parameters, if I am correct, this is clear. When we are talking about online learning, we should be very clear about the course objective. That means what our expectation. We saw the peoples, they're very easy to use the technology, and the course which should be in right pace. That means you can't accelerate the course according to your convenience. You should be in a proper manner and proper way, because here you are not deals with the face-to-face matter. Here we deals with online. Then attention from the faculty. It's very important, and it's more important nowadays because we are not familiar with this thing. Then apply academic advising services, peer-to-peer interaction, which is very important. So these are the main parameters. And if you see how these are lacking from the downward in black content, this is one study from EduVentures, and they have seen that these are the parameters which we can factor for the driving a good online learning environment. In general, we people are very aware to access this online education resources. This may be in different format. If you see in YouTube, you can see the videos, you can go for the lectures, you can go for some suggested resources. Then the modules and platform means our basic platform which are familiar. So this is how the peoples are collecting their resources for the education. And if you see here, our basic platform, which is we are using, those are almost 60% from the basic education. Then we can split in the different modules when we'll go for the higher educations. And then we see others resources to get the things. But when we use the resources, the thing is that what kind of problems we are facing rather than when we are go for the face-to-face interaction. And this is clear from this site how we are suffering in this online system. Whatever the tools we are using here, those all are based on our internet connections. And for that, we need some instruments, we need some supporting items like the laptops, like the mobiles, obviously smartphones. And these platforms are not easily available to the peoples. And if you see worldwide, almost 50% of the peoples are suffering or lack of this kind of items which are useful for online learning system. Eventually, if you see the universities or maybe personally, we are also not always get those items to go for a good lecture or to ready our material for the online learning course. So if you see the slide, here this worldwide and also I put here the sub-Saharan Africa because I am here faculty at African continent. And if you see the ratio, mainly from here, if you compare your African continent, here the problems are more because here this lack of this kind of supporting documents, supporting items are very, very less. And that's why this the main problem in online learning course. Not only this one, mainly all authors are focused on this communication part. But there is many problem we are facing as a teacher as well as a student. If you see when we are talking about face-to-face teaching, that means a eye-to-eye contact is there. And it is very easy for us to explain our things to the students. But when it is online learning methodology, in that case, we just visually see those students, but it's not like a eye-to-eye connections. And that is where the problem arises, is to understanding whatever they are in mind and to deliver according to that is becoming very difficult. And moreover, whenever we are consider the general traditional learning, here we given an option to the students for a cross question. That means when we are discuss some step, in the middle of the step, they can doubt or clear their doubts by asking few questions, or maybe they simply say that, sir, we could not understand this part, can you repeat again? But this concept is not that much applicable when we are talking about the online learning. Because in the middle, it's difficult to allow the students for the cross question. And obviously, if you assigned a few minutes, let's say 10 minutes or 5 minutes at the end of the lecture, that okay, they can capable to ask the questions during that period. That is another difficulty level because you have already completed all the content. And when they are talking in the middle, okay, from middle they can ask some queries. Then again, you need to repeat the same things, which is another difficulty levels for a faculty and also for the students to understand the main content or main step at that point. Second is this online platform. If you see, when we are discuss about the online platforms, or maybe I can say some more reason. Then another thing is very important here. This is only not the communication. Another problem is there, which is sufficient infrastructure. There is a very few institute, or if you say personally also, we have a well-equipped infrastructure to display our learning system to the students. Because you need a very good audio and a very good video to supporting this learning system, which is obviously very difficult for any institute to purchase these things, and also very difficult for the students. Obviously, we are temporary purpose. We can use our laptop or we can use our mobiles and make a video and share that video to the students, or maybe go through the online courses and share that one. But it's not a good quality. And moreover, when we are using our softwares mainly if you see here in these slides, how we are using these softwares for these online courses. But this software, if you see, this is not for, actually not fit for online learning system. This actually fit for the conferences or maybe very small seminar kind of thing, or whatever we are doing now, this webinar. Because here we know the content, what is the content on what we are going to talk about. We have some idea on that. Again, we are not expanded that content largely so that it is go beyond our understanding. And another thing is number of presenter also limited in some of these softwares, because generally what we are using generally non-paid, the free software or free communication systems. So there is few restrictions are there. Even we can face the same kind of restrictions when I am going to enter in this webinar. People are on their audio, microphones. That is not under the control of the presenter. We can't control those things. That is controlled by the listeners who is here. So this controlling systems is always not on the presenter or whoever the moderator of the modules or of the program. And that is one lack for us. Suppose if someone is going to ask you any queries or any kind of things, they need to switch on the mic and they need to tell, okay, sir, I have some queries. It's not any system where you can raise your hand, what we had doing in our traditional online courses. We raise your hand and then when, and try to attract the teacher. And obviously then we can go for the asking questions and those kind of queries, conversation to get a clear idea about the things. But here, this is not possible. Secondly, what is very interesting and where we are not focusing, that is...
Hello, sir.
Yes?
Sir, I want to announce something. Please, all the participants, put your video off mode, because our live streaming in YouTube is going on. Due to, if you put off your video mode, then it will be better in the live mode. Please, all the participants, only presenters are allowed to switch on both audio and video. Thank you. Yes, sir, continue.
Okay, let I continue. So, where I was. Okay. So second thing is here, so it is difficult to control the things when we are using this kind of free softwares, because most of the universities or colleges, it is very difficult to pay for this software and get those facilities. So this infrastructure obviously very important for us. Secondly, another problem is here. Most of the modules which we are going to present or which using as a learning modules, some of them we need a huge explanation. Some of them we need to analytically explain step by step. Mainly as a math teacher, I know we need to write the board many equations, we need to derive, we need to show them step by step. And it is very difficult for this kind of software because they don't have any whiteboard concept where you can write and you can explain the things step by step. So, and this difficulty is mainly faced not by student, also by the teachers. So we need to prepare our presentation so elaborate way that they can understand each step. And there is sometimes we are facing difficulties. And also how you explain to the traditional time, that explanation you can't able to give when you are in online learning system. So this is another lack, which is basically our infrastructure, sufficient infrastructure system. Now the thing is that, okay, now we don't have any option. We need to go for online course delivery. At least we don't know up to when we will back to our traditional system. But in some way we can able to improve this online course delivery. Maybe we can make a or call a group of the students, and we can utilize the face-to-face interaction if possible. Even we can go for video conference with one group of students, not all, because if you have a big group, then it is very difficult for us. Mainly if you in engineering institutes, in IITs, there you always deals with the first year and second year common courses in math, in physics, and in chemistry. And their number of students, almost 500, sometimes maybe cross more than that. And in this case, it's very difficult face-to-face interaction. But it is important at the same time, because this face-to-face interaction basically gives the confidence to the students in this learning system. So you can divide it into small groups, and maybe weekly once you can interact with them. And second, support engagement is crucial. Support engagement means you can engage them with different supporting work, so that they engage yourself and they also think about the course and their priorities. Third is the set clear expectations for learner. We generally, when we made the content for any module, we always tell, okay, this is our content and this is what our outcomes. That means at the end of this module, people or the students can able to do these steps. So this expectation should be very clear for online courses, because they should know, okay, this is what our motto, or this is our motivation to do this course. And third and fourth and most important is there, introduce interactive form of learning. Now your pattern is totally completely changed. So that means you need to involve the students with some more online works. Like that, you can give them some conceptual mapping. You can give some problems to where they are using their concepts, where they are using their brains and storming and try to find out the solutions for that. Even if you are in physics or engineering, you can give them problems where they can do some simulation kind of things, so that they can involve themselves and at the end of the day, you will get something from them. And obviously, this project-based learning, that is a good methodology. You can give them small challenging problems as a project, so that they can involve their concepts, storming, and everything, whatever these 3 points in this project, and they can try to find out some outcomes from that, which maybe give them an interest for the online course. So this is we expected from the online, but obviously when we are talking about higher education, we can't ignore the research, because in master level, in many universities, they has 1 year for the research. And when we are talking about research, we have two kind of work is here. One is analytical or computation kind of things. Another one is the experimental. And this both point is very important when we are talking about learning, analytic or computation. Obviously, we need a very good access of journals so that we can get day by day update what is going on in the system. But with that, we also need to access the workstation. I know there is many universities or colleges, they don't have this access of online journals. They mainly depends on their libraries. But when it is about online access, that means you need their access of journals. Access of workstation is very difficult, but it is at the same time important. Mainly those are doing this computational work. When you work on parallel algorithms or you can parallel computational part, then you need the server, you need a very good computer system so that you can run those codes easily. So that is very important, and this is challenging when we are talking about online things. And obviously experiment, we can't do anything if we can't access the universities or our workstation. Because for experiment, obviously we need to access the lab, we need to access the ingredients and the instruments, and moreover, we need to access the supporting stuff. Those are help us to do this experiment comfortably. So this is the issues. And if you see the, okay, let I go for that conclusion, don't go for this one. As the conclusion, I can tell one thing, that in this online course, this is just an alternative or as a supporting to continue the education system, so that at least student can get some knowledge, as well as they can not face the problem like lack of ear or those kind of things. But obviously this is not a proper alternative. Thank you. If you give the permission to me, maybe I can explain what the methodology we are using in our university.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am staying at Botswana, and this is surrounded by some countries, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Namibia. So generally here, the government take a very quick and good step to restrict the spreading of COVID. They block almost all the international airports. They also all entrance point, they check the things. So that's why if you see this coronavirus cases in Botswana, that is very less. Even it is not crossed 80 also till today, till yesterday. And the death rate is very poor. This is the daily case, and this is also very poor in our Botswana. So what here policies are using government regarding to this online education? These universities, most of them are either central government or the state government, and they had the facilities for students. They can stay at their hostels. So what they had done, they call the students after ending of the lockdown, and they keep them at the hostel with all the sanitizing and everything. They are doing all the process, temperature, everything they are doing. And then they buy a software which is called the Blackboard Ultra, Blackboard Collaboration Ultra. If you see, it looks like this one. So here, if you see right-hand side, you have the options here, blank whiteboard, share applications, share files, even the polling, and also they have the recording system and everything. So this software is quite different from whatever software we are using for the conferences. This is basically utilized for academic purpose, because you have here blank whiteboard where you can write anything, you can explain anything, and simultaneously they can see you as well as whatever you are writing on the board. And you can files your share your files, how we share here the PPT. Like that way, any file you can share here. So what they had done, they split the big classes into small classes. And when I am going to take my lecture in my room, I can see, okay, now in the place of 250 students, they only allocate their 50 students. And remaining 200 students, they split in 4 different big room. And there they make a setup so that they can hear and video and audio both of the lecture. And whatever I explain in the main auditorium, they can easily access those explanation, and also whatever written on the whiteboard, all the calculations, they can appear. So in this way, we can get 2 benefits. One is that this is, you can say, partially tradition plus online course. Partial tradition because you can see some students are there, you can have a face-to-face interaction. And online because the same lecture can access by other students who are in others' room. They are basically not allowed the student to stay at hostel, because they told that you should come at the proper time. This is the module time. You should come and you can sit in your assigned places. So like that way, this here, they're using the partial things, which is good for us as a faculty and also good for the students. And whenever we are going through this kind of software, this is one from the university, they buy this software. Here you have many systems to mute all the students, so that even you stop their videos and audio every sharing, so that they are not able to disturb anymore. And in this system, what the university using policies, in this policy, you will get some student in front of you, and you can direct conversation with them. If they have any query, you can explain those query. This can explanation for the students who is at the room itself, and also for the students who are accessed from the different room. Okay, thank you very much to all. Thank you. I stop here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice presentation. So, we'll continue this session for 5 minutes for the discussion. Please, anyone want to question, switch on your audio, or you may write in the chat box. Sir will reply your comment or on the question. Thank you. Please, anyone want to ask?
Yes, I see someone talking about
Okay.
share the software. But the
Okay.
problem is that this software, you need the code to run the things, because this is the university paid for that software. But I can give the name of this software. That is called Blackboard Collaboration Ultra. Blackboard, what we are using generally, Collaboration Ultra.
Anyone else? Okay. Okay. Thank you once again, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let I, okay, leave. I don't know.